And we are on. Hello and welcome to Sports Unhinged. My name is Mohammed and I'm joined by Mark, Ujita, and Coach. And my God, guys, what a weekend of football we've had. Woo! I mean, on behalf of all football fans, I think we have just seen the best weekend of football in decades, if not ever. I can't say ever, but I'll give Mark a chance to confirm.
I can. Yeah,
You've been here a lot longer than we have.
102 years ago, it was really
forever is a decade for you.
It was in black and white as well. 102 years,
right?
Even when you're in the stadium.
It was an incredible weekend. 3 games decided by a field goal right at the end with 4 seconds left. But I have to start with the last game. Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, a classic for the ages. I mean, we're almost tempted to say, cancel the Super Bowl, cancel everything. We want a best of 7 out of this game because it had everything in it. Mahomes and Allen put up 25 points in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter of that game. I mean, it was just a complete shootout. Obviously, Kansas City in overtime managed to pull it through. Coach, just reactions, thoughts.
Does anyone here think that if the coin flip had gone to Buffalo, Buffalo wouldn't have won?
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's amazing how good they were.
Yeah.
Even the whole game was good. Yes, the last 2 minutes were great, but the whole game was just a very good set of football with not a lot of penalties, not a lot of turnovers. The referees weren't involved in the game.
Right.
You know, there wasn't a lot of missed coaching other than maybe the kickoff in the 13-second thing where he kicked it all the way to the end zone. It was just good football and sound football and good plays and good offense and good defense and good stops and good special teams. And sometimes that's fun to just watch. We don't get that very often. I'm not sure the better team won, but I'm also not sure that the better team didn't win. I just think they're both just so good. That look on Josh Allen's face, I can't get it out of my mind when he's like, "Oh my God, they scored." Okay, here we go. Absolutely. But you got to tip your hat. I did have a chance to watch the full all 22 of the last quarter and overtime, and oh my goodness, the play callers offensively just had a night on both sides. And they knew exactly where the chess pieces were going and what it looked like and who was under and who was over and the crossing routes to the city. They were just killing them. And you gotta wait for Mahomes because you're not sure which arm. Is it going to be side? Is it going to be over the top? Is it going to be underneath? Is he going to escape? And then Josh Allen, is he going to run a draw and run right over your ass? So, I mean, those are my thoughts. I love the football game. That's the reasons I coach football, is for those kind of football games.
And you know, with the 13 seconds left, I mean, don't let anybody tell you 13 seconds is not enough time. And we were just a week before making fun of Dak Prescott and his inability to use 14 seconds correctly. But man, both of these quarterbacks, Mahomes continues to break records. He's the first quarterback in NFL history with an 107.2 passer rating in a playoff game. Josh Allen surgically targeted passes all night. The only thing he pretty much did wrong was call tails in the coin toss. Mark, when we look at the AFC, it's stacked with really good quarterbacks. But now, is it obvious that Mahomes and Allen are just above the rest, and the future of the NFL sits with these two quarterbacks?
Yep. It does for the moment, but I think there's going to be some new ones coming up. You know, a few drafted this time last year could prove to be decent. We'll see. There's so much to worry about, but that's for the future. At the moment, they're head and shoulders above everybody else. I kind of felt for Josh Allen at the end.
Yeah,
I really did. Out of all the players, he just, after they scored that touchdown with 13 seconds to go, he went up to the defense and he was really giving them,
right,
hold it, and they couldn't. And so my heart went out to him. But he and Mahomes are going to have some battles next year. They've got a regular season battle at Arrowhead again next year. Can't wait for that now. You know, I'm already looking forward to that. That's 9, 10, 11 months away. So No, lovely game, great game, best game I've seen ever, probably.
Right.
I
It's
can't
probably
think-
one of the best games ever. Yujita and Patrick Mahomes, I think somebody sent me some stats. He was wearing a device that was measuring his heart rate. And at some point, his heart rate while he was on the sideline was higher than when he was going out there scoring that last touchdown. I mean, what can this guy do? It's incredible. Now, going over that game, do you think that Kansas City have used up a lot of that energy? They're going to go into the next kind of game with a bit of like an emotional and psychological exhaustion to face the Bengals, or is it just kind of pedal to the metal for the whole way now?
Yeah, but first of all, man, I wish somebody was checking our heartbeat while that game was going on. Yeah, well, Mark had a defibrillator going on. I mean, at some point, he had to be revived. I mean, look, Casey's got their momentum, man. But I mean, look at what Mahomes has turned into since we started crapping on him, weeks ago. Look at how he was in this game, so tempted. I mean, so not tempted at all, And there was a stat: 92% of his snaps were too high safety, and he didn't have one long pass in this game. That's a career first, I think. So how good and poised and composed has he become now? And it's dangerous. I mean, Cincinnati should be really worried. And look, I mean, I agree with the coach. There were a lot of great play calls on defense and offense, but don't you think Leslie Frazier might have wanted to adjust that defense from too high at some point? I mean, if you look at that Kelsey pass, I think when they were going for the field goal, you had, safeties and corners 15, 30 yards away from him, leaving it wide open. Milano was gashed, the linebacker. I mean, he was all over the place. And Kelsey had open seams. So, I mean, I feel bad for Josh Allen because that kind of defensive non-adjustment kind of took the game towards Casey Moore. And yeah, Casey's got momentum. And I really don't know how Cincinnati is going, what they'll have to scheme up to beat them.
Now, McDermott did a great job in coaching, right? But coach, just to the point that Yujita just made with Kelsey, it was obvious that it was going to go to Kelsey every single time right at the end. And yet there was only single coverage on him. Could the Bills have done something different? I mean, was it the right play call, the right defense, the right formations?
It's interesting that Yujita said that. I kind of thought the same thing until I actually watched it. Even though they ran a lot of too high safety, they ran a lot of man under. And a lot of pistol man under where you play them all outside in. And then they mixed it up quite a bit with a true cover 3 zone underneath. So they quarter zone underneath. So they have the 2 high quarters underneath and then praying to God nobody has a running back out in the flat. And so they didn't play it that bad. Crazy as it sounds, the overtime touchdown, they went straight press man. They got completely out of the zone. Nobody had a zone. Kansas City did a great job getting him matched up to the slowest linebacker on the planet on that particular play, right? And so that's just a battle of matchups. And if I put him here, I know maybe 10 plays this night, he's lined up this particular way. So if we do that, he's got to be man up here. If they decide to go man, I've got the perfect play call. So yeah, there was a lot of the completions, as Yujita said, but underneath, they weren't running straight zone. They weren't running straight man. They did try to mix it up, but give it to Mahomes and some of the play calling when they did go a zone underneath, they ran every crossing pattern money can buy, right? And completed. You said it wasn't a long pass, but Hill turned in a 8-yard catch to a 63 or 4-yard touchdown.
Because they gave him that space to run.
That's right. Right. So sometimes it's a crapshoot. Look, we're pressing man, and look, we're tired, we're gassed. We need this play call or the next play call to not do that. Find somebody in the zone. They call 4 quads under 2-man zone, and then Kansas City has the perfect play call for the cross. They find the spot in the zone, and it just happens to be number 10, and then we're in trouble. Yeah. Or it happens to be the tight end, Kelsey, and then we're in trouble. Yeah. It's just so good. I don't think originally someone said that on the WhatsApp. I don't think Frazier called a bad game. I think there were a few mishaps,
Right.
But I don't
Misalignments. There were some.
there were a lot of
issues.
misalignments in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But some of that's tired. Some of that's, my God, here comes
They were
Mahomes.
gassed.
Here they come
They
again.
were gassed.
What do I do? It wasn't horrible. But at the same time, hats off to KC.
But
Yeah.
They did it.
shouldn't
They
we
did
be
it.
criticising the Bills' offense for the third quarter for their performance then? When they
Yeah.
they only had
4
four
plays.
plays. 4
Yeah.
plays, 13 minutes of ball time for KC.
That's crazy.
And
13 minutes.
that's going to run into the fourth quarter. So if Buffalo take anything from this game, is that you've got to play 4 quarters offense. Otherwise, you are going to lose. Because had they scored something in that third quarter, they would have won. Bottom line. So I was very critical on Sunday evening of the Bills' defense. Because it's the emotional thing of, they were stepping back and giving them room and stuff, single coverage. But when you kind of think about it, cold light of day, really, that's on the offense because they allowed KC to boss them in the third quarter. So I've got some sympathy with Buffalo's defense.
Well, like Cam Newton once said, hindsight is 50-50. But before we move on from this...
Can this be a Cam of his own?
Why do we have to bring up his name?
We have to bring him up. Before we move on from this game, obviously one of the things that got criticized is the fact that, clearly they're going mano-a-mano, touchdown for touchdown. And it came down to overtime. KC scored the touchdown, and due to the rules, obviously, of overtime, Buffalo didn't have the chance to respond. So we come back and we revisit this kind of debate on the overtime rule. What is your take on it, Mark? Should it be changed? Should the full 15 minutes be played? Is it a change that should happen for the regular season and the postseason? What is your take on this?
We've got to remember that the game is ruled by TV. So in the regular season, I'm not so worried. I think it's a little bit, hit and miss. If you get out the playoffs because you lost an overtime game, it's tough. But I think when it comes to divisional games, postseason games, wild card, whatever, I think both teams should have a chance at the ball. I'm not saying... I
think I saw a statistic that in the regular season so far, whenever games have gone to overtime, only 53% of the time that the team that wins the coin toss ends up winning. That changes a little bit in the postseason. I think it goes up somewhere in the 60s.
No, postseason, there've been 11 OTs, 10 to the team that won the coin toss.
Yeah. With the new rule.
Okay. With the new
rule.
Since 2012, when they expanded the current.
Okay.
That makes a huge difference,
That does make a huge difference, yeah.
I'd like to see it change personally. Both teams should get the ball at least once.
Yeah. Yujita?
Yeah, but I agree with that. I mean, obviously, a game like KC and Buffalo, we want to see it go on forever. But do we really want to see it go on forever? No. At some point, we want it to stop. So I agree with Mark. They should have each possession. But then you got to see if one team scores a touchdown, then the next team will score the touchdown, will want to go for the 2-point because, then the other guys only have to score a field goal. So then you have that issue as well.
Right.
Or we go college rule where they play the full 15 or 10 or whatever it is, and see who scores the most during that time. That could be another option.
I think once both teams have had the ball once, it's next score wins for me.
Next score wins, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go to the Rams against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this was another one that looked like it was kind of over, looked like it was going to be a kind of foregone outcome. But Tom Brady coming back, erasing a 24-point deficit right there in the fourth quarter. But most of all, Yujita's MVP pick, Matthew Stafford, finally. It was one of those moments right at the end when it was a tied game, not much to go in the fourth quarter. It is almost, I can hear Mark kind of talking, saying, this is where Matthew Stafford lets you down. historically, I have watched Matthew Stafford with Detroit for many, many years, and this is where he lets you down. But here we go, Matthew Stafford connecting with Cooper Kupp, getting them there, spiking the ball very quickly, and getting the field goal in 30-27 to the Bucks. Yujita, now that our Super Bowl pick, the Buffalo Bills, are out, we need to jump on a new bandwagon late in the game.
Hey,
are you jumping with Matthews? Are you going with Matthew Stafford?
I'm on the wagon already. I mean, you're welcome to join. There's space. Yeah. But I told you guys last week, this playoff winning Stafford is a completely different person to Detroit or Rams. And it's all about patience and picking up the blitz really well. And, he's not flustered. And, well, also his O-line protected him really well this game. You got to say that. Right. And he did a great job, right? I mean, they really came after him. And he didn't really overuse Kupp either. He had those two crazy passes. I think one of them, which I think hit him on a push route, I guess. That was probably the best pass of the weekend, I think. And that was when you had I think it was Barrett who was barreling straight at him, and he had the ball out really quick. So, yeah, I mean, Matt Stafford, he's a different person right now. And all in all, the Rams, they're a force to be reckoned with. On defense,
Coach, I mean, there was still, the Rams are the first team ever to lose 4 fumbles, 4 turnovers, and still win the game in the playoffs. So let's not forget that there were a lot of mishaps there. What do you think was their strength in this game? Was it the defense or the offense? I mean, what really took them over that line at the end?
Tampa Bay's mistakes.
Okay, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's anything special play-wise. I mean, the defense looked good at times for the Rams. There were a few prayers that Stafford threw up that were caught. But, I mean, your main guys, Cooper Kupp hadn't lost a fumble in, good Lord, all season, and fumbles, which never happened. So I think Tampa made them look good at many, many times, including the last play before the field goal. So I'm not sold on the Rams. I'm quite proud of how the quarterback played. I think that his coach set him up well. Very similar to how Kansas City and Buffalo, they had good play calls. I think they had a good play call sheet. And I think it set them up for success. But there were still some boneheaded plays, some boneheaded looks, some holding the ball just a little too long or making your decision too early.
Right.
I'm not sure San Fran can't beat them. San Fran's on a little bit of a roll. I haven't picked it yet, but I'm like Mark. I hope it doesn't, because I do like the quarterback. But at some point, those bad decisions will catch up with you in the playoffs.
If he's playing catch up, I think that's my fear for him.
Yeah.
If this weekend San Francisco pull ahead by 2 scores, then are we going to see the re-emergence of Detroit Stafford? I really hope not, because the last 2 games he's been fantastic, really.
I'm not sold on Jimmy G either. I don't want to jump on that bandwagon. Let's be clear. I think they've played the worst offensively in the 2 wins, but still got wins. So I'm cautious there. But I think the Rams, they are on a little bit of a roll. They got a good set of play call momentum going on. Their defense, how good does Von Miller look as a pickup?
9 QB pressures on Tom Brady.
Goodness.
9 out of the 17 that the Rams had for that game.
And that's what was required.
Yeah.
That pickup gets them a Super Bowl ring.
Could be.
Question for Coach, though, man. I mean, Rams did have some errors, but what about the Tampa defense? I mean, it looked like they were trying to defend the run. I mean, they had like maybe 7-8 man box of many a times. And I thought the Rams offense picked that up really well. What you think?
I think there was I haven't watched the full all 22, but I do think, and it's been in the media quite a bit, there were quite a few defensive breakdowns for Tampa, either not getting the call or not running the call for whatever reason. Yeah. That last call they're supposed to be on an all out, and two backers didn't run or didn't.
They
blitz.
were still talking to each other. Yeah.
Right.
And they were talking, and the play snapped, and then neither went.
Yep.
So you could have an ABC blitz, and as it turns out, you only have to block the A gap. Well, I can block the A gap. Mark could block the A gap, right? If not all of them are coming. So, I as I said before with my answer, I think Tampa's mistakes helped the Rams as much as the good play from the Rams.
Well, that's unforgivable.
Mark, what do you think?
2022, isn't it? Right
Yeah.
down
Oh,
to
yes.
nation.
Yes.
Unforgivable.
Yeah.
So what do you think,
Unforgivable.
Mark, happens now? Does Brady retire? I mean, there's been talk of him saying, that he's going to be taking some time to speak to his family and make a decision. And a lot of people have accused him, this is being attention seeking and all of that stuff. I mean, personally, I don't believe that. I think Tom Brady, if he wanted the attention, he would have gone on a farewell tour. He still has it in him. I mean, he showed us. I mean, that last drive to tie up the game, that last quarter to tie up the game was the best Brady we've seen. We got used to seeing that many times in the playoffs. What do you think? Does he retire?
Eventually, yes. I'm not sure
Eventually.
he can do it in the next. I'm not sure he can do it in the next day or two. And
Welcome to obvious R. Here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know with him, honestly. And everybody will support his decision, whatever he does. But I think he will retire. He wanted to go out. He said previously he wanted to go out as a winner. And so if he goes out now, is that going to irk him when he's 50 years old? But I see quite a big change going on in Tampa. There's a lot that's going to move around there. I think Gronk will go, and the two of them have been synonymous for 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is. So I think he's going to go, and I think he'll go probably around the draft time. Maybe say something then. Just take that extra month. And frankly, we owe him that. It's his decision. I'd hate for him to play next year and get hurt. I really would.
Right.
And so I don't want to see him go from a football point of view, but from a personal point of view, I think he should. He's in good shape now.
Coach, you agree? I mean, I saw you with the salute right there. I mean, he's gone?
So I do believe that he does not retire. I think that the offensive line that they've put in front of him was the best in football, maybe until a couple of injuries in the playoff games. I think he values that, and they can keep him upright. You've got Godwins and Evans coming back. Neither are on contract hits, I think. Of course, Brown's gone. I do think the tight end leaves, but I think he made some pretty good inroads with some of those young receivers. I believe he comes back because I think he's satisfied with the offensive line is in front of him, and I think that his contract is very friendly to the Bucs if he comes back. So I think he's back one more year.
All right, Yujita, tiebreaker. Does he retire?
But I was convinced that he would play another after he podcast talking about family, and you had some former Pats guys chime in as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure anymore. I'm with Mark. I think he takes a month or two and then he calls it quit. And again, we're selfish, man. I'd like to see him on one final season go out, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep this a tie and go with Coach just for selfish reasons again. I mean, we're going to miss Tom Brady when he's retired. So we'd love to see a bit more of him. Now let's move over to the other quarterback that was up until now always in that GOAT discussion, undeservedly, I feel. Mark is happy. Mark is
Hey Darla, how'd it go? What was the score?
Oh my God,
Darla.
for the 49ers,
Hi, Darla.
13-10 against Green Bay at Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers, 20 for 29, 225 yards, one fumble, beaten by an inferior quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, San Francisco had barely over 100 yards rushing, barely over 100 yards passing. And Aaron Rodgers was able to put up only 10 points for his offense. Mark, The floor is yours.
Stage is yours.
How long have we got? Now, the Packers offensively were a massive disappointment after that first drive. When they got the ball from kickoff, they marched down, they got 7. You think, here we go. You know,
Right.
After Green Bay lost in San Francisco a couple of years ago, Rodgers said, we need to get them back to our place and get them in the snow and the -20, and then we'll see who's the best team. Well, he's 0-4 against San Francisco in the playoffs now, so that's interesting. It was a poor game from a technical point of view. Let's face it, you know, there was nothing to cheer about apart from the final result. But I loved it. It was proper football. It was grindy. It was snowy,
snowing,
freezing cold. And I'm sitting in a nice warm room looking at them, and I'm drinking a little glass of whiskey, thinking, look at them out there, and he slipped over, and you're criticising and all this kind of stuff. But better team won in the end, of course. But have we seen the last of Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau in a green shirt? That's the question now. And of course, Devontae Adams as well.
Right.
And he's been looking. You know, I've been reading about him. You know, he's a free agent. He's looking at $25 million a year.
Wow.
They're already over cap, aren't they?
Oh, Green Bay are in massive cap trouble. They're about 60 million over, give or take. Aaron Rodgers is 40 million of that. So whoever's going to get Aaron Rodgers has got to have the money to pay for that. Now, obviously, they can restructure and do all sorts of things. But then you're just pushing the problem down the road, which is where the Bears have been for the last couple of years, which is why we got a new general manager. So the only team that makes sense for me, and it's something that we've discussed on our little chat room, is Denver. It looks like Hackett is going to Denver as their new head coach. It makes sense for Aaron Rodgers to follow him. But they've got a lot of pieces in place on defense. Their offense has only been lacking a quarterback. They've also got the cap room to afford Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But I think when you put everything in place, there are lots of teams that have got 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4. Denver, in my mind, have 4 out of 4. So, but you don't know with him. It's going to go till June, July, probably, and he'll leak out the drama. He'll make an announcement on the eve of the Super Bowl about something because he wants to be the center of attention.
How many crying emoji messages did you send to Darla after that game? I mean,
there was some pretty hundreds. There was a lot. There was a lot. And, you know, we were DMing each other as the game was going and stuff. And she couldn't believe it when it finished, the way it finished. And of course, it's ex-Bear Robbie Gould. That's the thing kind of makes it sweet for us. And, you know, I was looking around for my Gould number 9 shirt. I wanted to wear it today. And
wow, Gould number 9 shirt.
I've got a Bears Gould shirt. So they were poor. Let's face it. Green Bay were poor in that game. And it wasn't just poor coaching. It was just poor everything. It was just one of those days. But good luck, San Francisco.
Yeah, and Coach, I want to ask you, how much does this hurt Aaron Rodgers' legacy? I mean, previously, there's always been an excuse for why he didn't make it to the Super Bowl. It's McCarthy. It's he didn't have enough weapons. The defense is not great. The offensive line. So over the years, there's always been excuses built for Aaron Rodgers. This year, he had all of the boxes ticked. I mean, he had a running back. He had a good wide receiver core. He had one of the best, if not, you know, arguably the best head coach in the NFL. They had the number 1 seed locked up. They pretty much rested their starters for 3 weeks. And for him to put up that kind of performance, when we're talking about legacy, how much does this hurt his legacy going forward, even if he moves on to another team and does well?
You know, probably not much. NFL fans have a very short memory. You know, we talked about this earlier with potentially Deshaun Watson going to Miami. NFL people just want to win, especially the fans. So I don't think it hurts his legacy that much. I'm quite disappointed in him as just a player. The whole time I'm watching the second quarter of the game, I feel like that he didn't prepare. They didn't watch film because some simple coverages were confusing him. It's not like they ran a lot of multiple looks. It was quite simple. And I don't know how to explain. He didn't look confused. He just didn't look like he could make a decision. And I think that really hurt their offense. They couldn't get any momentum going. I think it hurt his play caller a bit because, normally you can kind of get into a rhythm. They didn't have that. I think their offensive line probably played their worst game since the Saints game. And I think that struggled him a bit because I know in their offense, he makes about 90% of the offensive line calls as they call the play on what protections they'll have, whether it's a fan block or a first inside look block. And I think he was really confused by a lot of that, which affected his throwing ability. And I'm a little disappointed. And I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, but I have a lot of respect for on how he plays the game when you blow the whistle.
Right.
And I just didn't see that or feel that. So, I don't know if this loss hurts his legacy. He could be very much like Brett Favre or other people, Tom Brady.
Brett Favre is 12-0 in home playoff games. Aaron Rodgers is 7-7 in home playoff games. So I don't think he's the best quarterback in Green Bay.
I think what I meant was he can go to another team and might win a bit, maybe even get a Super Bowl or another, which would help his legacy. But this game, I was quite disappointed.
Now, Yujita, I want to kind of go to the San Francisco side because it was a bit of an Ali Foreman going on. They're just pretty much on the ropes, with the rope-a-dope, trying to avoid that haymaker. They got Green Bay tired and then just finished it off with a field goal. I mentioned the numbers. Jimmy Garoppolo, 11 for 19, 131 yards, 1 interception, nothing great. Rushing, barely 100 yards. How does San Francisco keep doing this? I mean, is it coaching? Is it defense? It's not offense. We know that for sure, other than Deebo Samuel. But how do they keep doing this week after week in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's got a lot to do with coaching for sure. And look, I mean, even though the yards on the rushing isn't great, it's 29 carries, so you keep the threat alive. And that feeds into play action because Jimmy G. He's not the quarterback who's going to win games. And, even when he has his leeway to get aggressive, those throws aren't great. And unfortunately, the guy was a bit unlucky. There was some drop catches as well. But yeah, I mean, the defense is probably the best along with the Rams at the moment. They do have a little bit of an issue in the secondary, I think. But their pass rush is crazy. And like Coach said, I mean, there was so much of confusion from Aaron Rodgers. There was no time for him as well. And, I seemingly just wanted to go to Adams, no matter who was open. Lazard was open multiple times. And you're right. They played standard 2 safety, cover. And Lazard was open many times, but he was just looking for Adams. And so, yeah, and defensively, they managed the game well. And that's how they keep doing it. And also, hey, Dallas made mistakes in the wild card. They took advantage. Green Bay made mistakes. They took advantage. So that's how they're getting there. And I do not agree with the coach that they're going to beat the Rams.
I didn't say that.
I thought you did. I thought,
no.
Okay, I get it. I get
Not
it.
I don't think he said, no, I think...
He's got 10 minutes yet to think about who's going to win that game.
Yeah,
he hasn't picked it yet.
All right.
We will get the picks in, right?
I'm going for a tie and a coin flip. That's what I'll pick.
Hey, so San Fran has beaten the Rams 6 straight times now because through the season. So
you called that before with the Colts and the Jaguars in the regular season, and we laughed at you then. And I laughed.
And I also said Aaron Rodgers hasn't beaten San Fran in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
And there you go.
You're a
so these things matter. Yeah.
Well,
man, Kyle Shanahan, you got to give it up to him. DeMeco Ryans as well. So yeah, from a coaching perspective, yeah, they'll be up there.
Now, Coach, you also lost your Super Bowl, or at least your AFC pick to go to the Super Bowl with Tennessee, 19-16 to Cincinnati. I think this one was a tale of two quarterbacks. One threw 3 interceptions, the other got sacked 9 times and still found a way to win. What threw it away for Tennessee? I mean,
Ryan Tannehill, yeah.
So
The Jimmy G
bad,
of the AFC.
yeah, just really bad quarterback play. He picked the wrong game to have a bad day. You know, and all quarterbacks have them. I don't know if they have them quite that bad in the playoffs. I mean, Aaron Rodgers wasn't great, but he didn't throw interceptions. At least he protected the ball and knew when and where. He just had a bad day, and he had a bad game, and his running game didn't get going to save him maybe a bit, and they had to throw it in more second and long or second and medium, second and long, third and long looks, and that's not how they're built. And if you're asking him to do that, he's
Right.
probably not going to be able to do it as often as we need him to, and he didn't. You know, they didn't, and it was a shock that they were in it for as long as they were in it, to be honest.
Right. And first ever road playoff for Cincinnati. Mark, I mean, Burrows did a fantastic job. The composure, I think, stands out more than anything. Do you think that they can seriously put, like, let's talk about their game up with KC coming up right now. Is there a threat for Cincinnati to upset Kansas City?
The guy took 9 sacks, as you said, and there's going to be some carryover of that coming into this weekend. That's my thought. If he's not 100%, then they haven't got a chance of winning. If he's 100% and he's really in great shape, they're still not going to win. I can't see.
Now, you say carryover, but I made the argument a bit earlier as well.
Physical carryover if he's hurt.
But Kansas City, I mean, the game that they went through with the Bills was just, it's like going through 12 rounds of action-packed boxing, right? I mean,
absolutely,
there must be a carryover there.
They've got Mahomes. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, but is it fair to say that Kansas City's done that enough in the last 2-3 years? They've had these big up and then down, and they might know how to perform, and Cincinnati has not. You know, they've never come off a big win like this, even with the 9 sacks.
If Kansas' season ends on Sunday, for them, it's been a poor year. If Cincinnati's season finishes on Sunday, they're going to look back and think, yeah, we did well. We got to the
of course. I mean, I don't think they imagined they'll be in the championship game. So, by the way, fun fact, Cincinnati has never lost a championship game in the Super Bowl era. They're 2-0. One of 2 teams that has never lost a championship game in the Super Bowl era. Anybody care to guess what the other team is with a 5-0 record in the championship game?
In the championship?
Pittsburgh.
Nope.
Giants. New England.
The New York Giants. Yeah.
Giants.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shut the front door.
I will.
Yeah.
Burrow is also 6-0 in postseason if you go back to college days as well. So he's never lost in the postseason. So
there are going to be some new.
What a
hey, listen, they have the most healthy. They have some of the best weapons that are the most healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
No nicks, no bruises, no twisted ankle here. No, they're all good. They're good to go, except their offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
With an average of 11.7 yards per pass to Jamar Chase. So these are the 3 stats that I'm going with because I'm actually expecting KC to have one of those slow starts. We thought it would happen against the Bills. It didn't happen. I think Cincinnati might pull the upset here. I don't know if I would lock in the pick, but I have that feeling, and I haven't been doing great with my picks in this postseason. Coach knows, but if I were to pick an upset out of the 2 games, it will be Cincinnati. Anybody else care to jump on this bandwagon?
No.
It'll be a close game. It will be a close game, but Cincinnati aren't going to do it.
Kansas is going to win by more than 10.
Okay.
I disagree a bit. Maybe 1 score, maybe a field goal, but it's going to be close. It will be close.
26-21, Cincinnati.
No.
That's what I'm going.
I doubt they win the football game, but
Yeah.
they'll get there. They'll be
All
there.
right, San Francisco and the Rams. Coach, expectations. I'm putting you on the spot now. You got to make it.
Rams. I like Rams. I think the juju catches up to San Francisco, and I just think the Rams play enough good football. They run the ball good now, and their defense, that's a much different defense than Jimmy G's seen maybe in the last 2 games specifically. So I like the Rams.
And Jimmy G has had less than 175 yards in each of his 4 playoff wins in his career so far.
Yeah, but these guys
think,
will knock him on his ass, so he
Yeah,
better
right.
be ready for that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up with one more thing. Sean Payton leaving the Saints. That's a bit of an interesting one. I think it's happy news for everybody in that division.
You mean you?
Yeah, that's what we say.
Coach, what are your expectations for the Saints? Where do they go from here? Is it a complete rebuild, losing Sean Payton?
So is it maybe a premonition that McCarthy stays one more year in Dallas, or Matt Rule stays one more year in Carolina, and Sean Payton becomes available next year? Now your owner will pay for that guy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So I'm not surprised he stepped away. I just don't think they have good quarterback play, and I think he knows it. They don't have any cap space to go get somebody or trade for anybody, and he knows it. They've got an aging defense, and he knows it. He's also got some teenage kids that he might want to go watch play a little football. If I think about Bob Stoops, he did the same thing at Oklahoma. Stepped away when he was at the top of his game, just to watch his kids grow up. So I don't fault him at all, and I think it made it easy, knowing where they'll be.
Okay, Chicago. Any progress there on the head coaching? I think there are some headlines.
We've got the Ryan and Max show again.
Okay.
So
Matt Ryan show you mean?
Yeah. Oh, of course, Matt Ryan is one. So instead of Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, we've got Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus as head coach now.
How do you feel about that?
I feel personally very fine about it. I'm very fine about it. I'm very relaxed about it. Of course, Bears fans are either suicidal or hyperventilating, but no, I'm okay with it. He's a good guy. I was doing a lot of reading about him before we started today. He's got a really solid career. He's been around a bit. He's on the defensive side of the ball. So the most important thing that he can do now is get a decent offensive coach. And that's the appointment more than anything now, between now and the start of OTAs. That's the thing that's going to be looked at more than anything. Bears in a reasonably healthy state cap-wise, about the 10th best in the NFL. So they can manufacture about 60 million. So that's good. So he's got some cash and not many draft picks to throw around. We don't get a first rounder this year because of the Justin Fields trade last draft. I'm very relaxed about the 2 appointments that the McCaskies have made this week. It's just the Ryan and Matt thing is just kind of weird. It's very weird. But
yeah.
All
right, now.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to wrap up with one more thing. We've all lost our Super Bowl picks. There's only 4 teams left. Just a quick kind of run around the table. Who's your Super Bowl pick now? Mark.
KC,
Ujita.
Wow. Yeah, KC. Rams.
I'm going with the Rams.
KC.
All right.
Thanks, Ujita, for your clear and concise comment.
Coach.
Buffalo. Oh wait, Kansas City.
Kansas City. All right, I think we've got 3 KCs and 1 Rams, but let's.
I said KC.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, did you say Rams?
I said Rams. Yes.
Oh, you said Rams. All right. Hey, I'll come with you. Rams.
Okay, cool.
I'll come with you.
Cool.
That'd be a great Super Bowl. If it was those 2 in the Super Bowl, it'd be better than any other combination that we've got.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Imagine a Cincinnati, San Francisco from a ratings point of view. That would be a nightmare for the NFL.
Imagine all the people, going for that.
I think the halftime show would be a replay of the highlights of KC versus Buffalo. I mean, that would be.
What a high!
All right, guys.
What a game!
Awesome one. I hope the next round is as exciting as the round before, although I won't hold my breath. But yeah, it's been a great season so far. We've still got a few games ahead. With that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Later.
See ya.
Thank you.